This is the meeting for information. We're going to give an informational seminar for the 2024 BOT Municipal Grant. So a little definition, BOT of course stands for Building Official Training. And we are part of Minnesota's Department of Labor and Industry, and we are in the Construction Codes and Licensing Division. And we're going to quickly run through just a few things that you may need to help answer some questions and get you started with applying for this 2024 municipal grant. Don gave a little address there at the beginning. I just want to let you know that our website, where most all of this is going to be, a lot of this information and a lot of these documents like our application, our budget forms, all of these are going to be out at our website, which is our normal DLI website, the dli.mn.gov, but just a /BOT will take you there. If you have questions, you can, I'm trying to get some of these documents or questions about the grant. You send those to the email address of bot.dli@state.mn.us. That's this address right here. And you can call and I can give you more direction on how to get to these. If you're asking specific questions about your application, what qualifications are, things like that that we're not covering today, how we have to handle that is everybody has to have equal access to the answers and no one unfairly getting answers others don't. So when you ask those questions, we don't answer those immediately. Those are posted each Friday out at the BOT website. And those will be posted for the next couple of weeks, each Friday. Now there's already an FAQ, frequently asked questions out there, that answers a lot of these questions because we've been doing this now since 2020. And so pretty much all the answers, all the questions have gotten answered out there. So you can go out to that. And we will be going to this website in a moment. So we'll walk through all of that. But just want to give you this contact information right up here at the front. And we'll be going through this a little more as we go. So anyway, just to do an introduction here, the objective of the BOT grant, of course, is to bring new individuals into our industry. Now, this can be people that you hire and use the grant money to train, but this can also be someone that is an existing employee, say a permit tech or someone over in the engineering department. We've had both of those examples before, where you bring someone in and you cross-train them over into the building codes department. So you can use it a number of ways. One of the goals, and we'll be seeing this as we go through the RFP, is for them to achieve a BO limited by the end of that year. Now, one of the questions that comes up sometimes is if you are hiring someone who already has a BOL, can you still apply for the grant and get a grant? Well, one of the things that we've found, and in fact, one of our current grantees hired someone with a BOL, but they had not had any municipal inspection experience. And that's one of our goals here also, is to bring those new people in and to get them that first year of experience working for a municipality as a code enforcement person. So that is one of the things that if they already have a BOL, but that's our objective by the end of that first year, is to have that building official limited. A little background. This entire program began back in 2020. It actually started before that as an apprenticeship program, but then changed over to a grant program. Our first grant was 2 years in length, and that actually was looking to achieve a full certified building official certification by the end of the second year, or having the person equipped so that they could go forward and test for that BOL, that full certified building official. But by the end of the first year, it's just like this, we were wanting them to have that BO limited by the end of that first year. The second grant started in 2023. That's the current grant cycle we are in. And that grant was just 1 year in length. And we were looking again for that building official limited certification by the end of it. The second grant also included something that was a part-time grant, less money, and intended to cross-train individuals, but that didn't work as well and it was found out that the full-time monies were still needed. So in our third grant cycle where we are now, this is going to be a one-year grant. It'll be for the year of 2024 from hopefully January 21st, but our start date is always the date that the contract agreement is executed. And we hope that's at least January 21st. And then it'll run the year to December 31st of 2024. So that will be our grant cycle for this third grant, or the 2024 grant. So I talked about the web page. I want to go out there now and just take a look at that, walk you through some of that. And so let me bring this over and expand it. So we're actually out at the web page now. You should all be able to see that. And this is at the web address up above, as we talked before, our standard DLI website. It's just got the /BOT, and that'll bring you to this website. If you have problems getting to this or connecting to it, let me know and I can send you the link. And as you see, we just start out with listing the application period, just as I pretty much explained. The the application period, not our grant cycle, but our application period actually started September 25th and will run through October 25th. And as you see, we have a 4 p.m. deadline for having your applications in. We'd hope that they're all complete. Sometimes they may not be, but get the applications in by 4 p.m. on the 25th to continue with your grant application and for our review. The RFP, proposal application, all that are all listed below, and we'll take a look at that. We got a little grants timeline here, kind of gives you a breakdown of all the major points that are come through in our grant, and when we launched here today at our WebEx. Noon on the 13th is the deadline for any questions that come in. These are what I was talking that we're going to be posted on the FAQ page below. We'll see that. But we have to end that early enough so that we can get all the questions out there, and there's still enough time for everyone to read those or look through them before our closing of our application period, which is that 25th of October at 4 p.m. Okay, the first week of December is pretty much where we're hoping that we've gotten through our review process, and we're going to be announcing our awards. And then again, here is that period of performance, or the grant period, hopefully January 1st, or when the grant agreement is signed, through the December 31st of 2024. So it'll run that 1 year. Again, our objective, we'll see this listed in our RFP as well, but this is to get that, bring a new person in or cross-train a person in your department as a plan reviewer and building inspector, get them that first year of experience. With this, we are looking at them getting that 20 points for that first year of experience in building inspections and plan review, and that's per our section, our Minnesota rules, 1301 0300. And the C1, and that's, if you know, that's actually the criteria for applying for the BO Limited, and it's the same as that application, but that C1 is where you get the 20 points for 1 year. We're looking at them being qualified as a construction code inspector. Now we're hoping for the BO Limited certification. That's what our goal is with this grant. However, according to Minnesota statute law, which is 326B 135, and that's also detailed over in the criteria also is over in 1301 1400, is that within the first year of employment, they have to achieve the commissioner's criteria for being a construction code inspector. So you can go out and look this up. We'll see this in the RFP when we get there too. You can look up this statute and you can read through that. But that is what we operate under in Minnesota. We have to meet that construction code inspector criteria by the end of that first year. One of the ways you do that is through a BOL, but there are other ways. So be sure to look that up and read that. The eligibility for this, we're going to see this again in the RFP, but I just want to touch base on it here, is you have to be a qualifying municipality for the grant. And we define municipality in Minnesota Rules 1300 which is our definitions chapter of 1300. And in subpart 17, and that's also out in 326B 103, is it's defined a municipality is a city, county, or town. And so that's where it starts our eligibility. Also, to be eligible, the municipality must administer and enforce the Minnesota State Building Code by having adopted the code by ordinance. So in other words, you had to have adopted that and be enforcing it in order to be a qualifying municipality. Education and training have to be under a Minnesota certified building official. Now this is in accordance with 1301-0300. And here again, that goes back to that 20 points of criteria. And in several other places in statute law or in our Minnesota rules, it tells that the training has to be under a certified Minnesota building official. And so you have to have that also to be qualifying for this grant, because of course you're going to be training. We want to be in that compliance. And then just quick and easy, you have to meet the deadline, which is 4 p.m. on October 25th. For this round in this grant, the 2024 grant, we of course had award amounts of up to $520,000 for our total. Each municipality can apply for up to $65,000, and that is good to train one person. We're awarding 8 grants this year, so you can be one of 8. And the cycle, of course, will be restricted, as I just said, 1 BOT grant for 1 trainee per municipality for this 2024 cycle. We want to be able to share and spread these around. And again, just a reminder that these funds are not intended to fully train this person. This is the municipality will also have some contribution in this. We don't expect that 65,000 is going to go stretch for the entire year and cover all these expenses, but we're trying to help out. We have our informational seminar today. Any questions? We'll see this also in the RFP, that get those questions, as I had stated earlier, over to our BOT email site so that we can post them out here for everyone else to see evenly. And if you have some questions about getting this website or getting any other documents up, I can send them over to you. And of course, you can just contact me by calling my DLI desk phone, and that'll record and I'll get back to you. Here's some of our documents. So here's what we're talking about at the bottom of this. This is where you access them. The RFP, you can just click, that'll link you to it. Our application with the budget and budget narratives. Now this is your application packet. This is your proposal when you get them all filled out. We will be looking at these today as we go forward. It gives you the training requirements. We'll take a look at those. There's a requirement of an affidavit of non-collusion that has to be signed by the authorized person. We'll be talking about that as we look at the application. And that person, this also has to be notarized, and you'll see that when you bring this up. There's definitions of many of the terms that we use that'll help you out. We'll be putting up a sample grant contract for you, your persons that are helping you with this grant or may have questions in your municipality, your city administrator, your finance director. Some of them will want to see this. We'll have this sample grant contract up pretty soon here. And then here's the big one. These are the frequently asked questions, the FAQs. And there's a lot of them out there. I think there's 3 pages now. Any question you have that's not out there is where we'll be adding that each Friday for the next couple of weeks until that 13th. So we'll update you on these and keep you informed and double back and check on these things as we go forward. So we're going to get rid of this right now, and we're going to go back to our agenda. So let's bring up the RFP, and then we're going to look at the training requirements. We're going to look at that application and the budget and budget narrative. And that should pretty much walk you through everything you're going to need to look at in order to apply and to put your proposal together. Let's jump over here and we'll bring forward the RFP and take a look at that. And so the RFP starts right off, and that's, of course, RFP stands for Request for Proposals. We're making a request for anyone to submit proposals for this grant. Again, the 2024 next grant cycle, building official training, and this is a municipal grants program. Available funding, we covered that pretty much already. 520,000, 8 full-time grants of 65,000 each. On page 4, it'll break this out and give you that a little more definition on that. Here again, the grant is intended for partial funding only, and we provide training guidance to municipalities who want to establish training programs. So I want to get that understanding out there right away. We are not establishing an academy here at DLI at this time to train building officials. You in your city are hiring a new employee and you're going to be putting them through your training program. We're providing the training guidance and we're providing the some of the funding. And so that's what the intent of this and purpose of this grant is. So I just want that understanding to be out there right away, that, that this is not an academy at this time. Period of performance, we've gone through that. It'll pretty much be the fiscal year, January 1 through December 31st of 2024. Our application deadline again is 4 p.m. on October the 25th. We've got the email there. We're pretty much just submitting everything by email now. That is pretty much how everything is done. We aren't doing the mail-ins anymore. With the email, it comes in, it's got a date, a time, everything right on it. That's real important for this, knowing when these came in and, you know, if they come in too late also. If you have the questions, we kind of gone over all this up until the 13th of October. You can get questions in to the BOT email, and which is our BOT DLI state MN US, and we'll get them out to the website and get them under that FAQ tab. Also, it has my name, has my other phone, my phone number, as I pointed out earlier, for contacting for if you have any questions or having any issues with this. We'll start reviewing as soon as we get the last of them in and we've closed out after that October 25th, 4 p.m. time period. And we're, as we said, hopefully we're announcing in early December as to who has been awarded. And here again, our application documents are all out at the website, and you can just go out and click and go out to that website, just as we just did a moment ago. So running through the rest of the RFP, of course, as you can see, our name, our purpose, our background, we've kind of covered all this already as we were looking through the website, our objectives. Here again, read through these, get a good understanding of what our purpose and our objective is here. Again, we're not trying to establish an academy that you throw a person into and they come out the other side as a building official. This is establishing a training program. You are establishing the training program in your municipality. Our focus populations, we'll be looking at our application in a moment. DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, is very important to us now, and our focus populations that we're hoping to serve. It is a municipal grant. In your hiring, of course, all of you have your DEI policies, and you'll be listing some of them as and giving us an information as to what you're doing as far as DEI in when you do your application. Our grant outcomes that we're hoping to have, pretty much as we'd said earlier, we just want to help municipalities structure those training programs, train building inspectors and plan reviewers that can serve our diverse populations in our state, trainees that have gained experience in building code administration and plan review while working in a municipal setting for a year. And hopefully what we're wanting to get is a person with a BO limited certification by the end of that year. And your minimum criteria, though, is they have to meet the code, minimum code criteria from code enforcement inspector, as we listed out in that Minnesota statute. And we, of course, will be showing those here. They're listed in the RFP. You can look those up again. And here again, we have them listed right here. So go ahead and follow those rules and those statute numbers. Go out, read those, get familiar with those. And in grant activities, what our grant will be doing, it's broken down into two sectors: the education portion and the on-the-job training portion. And these are the same things that you'd be putting a new employee through. In education, You'll need to, and this is of course the construction code inspector criteria or the BOL criteria. There are educational aspects that have to be achieved in that first year. And you can do that through college or trade school courses. Again, go out and read the statute and see what's required out there. But there's college and trade school courses related to the building code environment. There's ICC courses and certifications that can be pursued, but only certain ones. So here again, with the college courses or ICC, make sure you know which ones you can pursue. Those are listed in those statutes. And then as a part of our grant, we want that person to start out safe, and so do you in your municipality. So of course, you're going to want to put them through OSHA 10 training right away. They may have this when they come to your city. If they've done this within a year, just forward us their certificate that they've had this. We just want to make sure that they're educated as to safety, and so do you in your municipality. So that will be one requirement of the grant. But our other education requirements here, the college and ICC courses, are requirements that are listed out, and those will be also out in that 1301-0300, part of the prerequisites for the BO Limited, but also the competency criteria in 1301-1400 for a construction code inspector. So those are education requirements that you'll have to achieve during that year. You, of course, will want to be sending your person to the CCLD seminars, the AMBO Region 3, the U of M, anything you can get them into, of course, as you would with a new person in your building codes department. The other portion of the training will be the actual on-the-job training. We'll take a look at our training requirements here in a moment, and but that's going to be in these different headings, and that's how we have broken down our requirements, and they are actually on an Excel sheet. We'll take a peek at that here in just a moment, and that Excel sheet breaks it down, and you can actually use that when you're reporting each quarter. We'll talk about reporting in a little bit, but this is mostly going to be informational for you to apply. If you get the grant, we'll also have an orientation seminar meeting that we'll get together, and then we'll go through all of the reporting requirements when you report, things like that. We'll take a quick look at it today, but don't worry about that. If you get a grant, we're going to have a good orientation and make you very comfortable with each quarter's applying and getting us what has been trained and where you've been at. But as you can see, it's broken down into pretty much our standard portions: the building department administration, the legal aspects, plan review and building inspection, application of Minnesota residential codes, and planning and zoning in your city ordinances, city laws, public works, public utilities, knowledge that that person needs to know. So you're going to be putting them pretty much through those paces, any new person you hire, depending on what, and here again, it depends on who you hire and how much training they've already had or how much knowledge they already have. If you're cross-training a person, they may already be coming out of one of these other departments. But this is the goals and what we're looking at in the grant. So let's just grab those training requirements, and I'll quick bring them down as long as we're talking about those. And this is what that Excel sheet looks like. And we could probably back that out just a little bit. And this will be attached to your grant agreement. So when you sign your grant agreement, you're also agreeing to this. That's why we've got Exhibit B on here. And here again, we've just broken it down into some simple sections. Our OSHA 10 training right up front. And when you've accomplished this and you file your first quarterly report, you'll be putting in here the hours or whether they've been achieved or not, so that we know that. Any of those ICC courses for the competency criteria, any other classes that you use for that competency criteria. And then we start with section 4 is the legal aspects of building code administration. As you can see, we just kind of go down through all the aspects that you're going to want to have your person knowing about, stop work orders, certificate of CFOs, your permits, valuations, all the things that are important training of that first year as far as legal aspects. Building department administration also, and management. Here you can see we've got all these other items and aspects, how you schedule your inspections and this. And you'll be putting your hours of training in out here that you do each quarter, and you'll be submitting these each quarter. But we just broke this down. This will be your exhibit, but this can also be your worksheet for when you're submitting your reports. And we just continue it. It's just whatever you be putting your first year person through normally. And this is decks, re-roofs, re-siding, or exterior finishes, you know, your stuccos, veneers, all those other things. Retaining walls, window and door replacements. So what you're seeing here is just pretty much what your first year person is going to be going through. This is one reason why when someone says, well, can we use this money to hire someone who already has a full certified building official certification and has been working for another city for 5 years? Well, that's not the intent of this grant program. The intent is to bring someone new in. That's why we do not know who you're hiring before you get the grant. You do that after you get the grant. But here again, we want to steer you toward the intent is training this person, and the requirements, as you see here, are pretty much residential. They're going to be that first year training. So if you're bringing someone in and you're going to put them all through all this training again, you know, you're at that point, you're taking money from someone else who could be training a new person and bringing a new person into our industry. And so as you see here on section 16 then is where we do the 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouses, and we go through all of the aspects that you would be training a person in that new construction. And this can apply to additions too. You know, new additions, you know, you're going to be going through that same stuff. So that's just a look at what, and that's it. That's what the training requirements are. This will be attached to your grant agreement if you successfully pass through the review process. And this is what you'll be training your person to. And these are out there on that website so that you can hook up to those and download those, and you can show your other persons that are helping you with your grant in your municipality. Let's keep moving along. Some of the other additional activities, as I said, that would come along with this grant, the CCLD Spring Seminars, AMBO, Region 3, U of M's, all of these do not add extra points though when you're going for the BO Limited, as you know. These are additional things that you would want to put your person through so that they get that additional knowledge. And some of this also is skills that will, activities that will help build their skills. And some of these things is you can just create mock scenarios. So if you're a smaller municipality and you're not going to have an R2 apartment building for them to plan review or to walk through in inspections, you could do that by talking to another municipality who is building one and going out and taking a field trip and seeing what everything, all the aspects, walking your person through those aspects. If it's something like storm shelters and you can't find one being constructed or to plan review, you can come up with a mock scenario. What you're doing is you're just trying to give your person as much knowledge and skill in that first year to equip them to be a good plan reviewer and a good building inspector. So section 4 of the RFP is where we talk about eligible applicants again, and these are the same things we just covered out in our website when we're walking through this. This is the same language. We just posted that right to the website, right from the RFP here. And as you can see, you know, we just walked down through the same things. You have to be a municipality as defined in rules 1300-0070 and in the statute. You have to be enforcing the code by adopting the ordinance, just as you normally would. Education and training has to be under that certified building official, and you have to meet that deadline, and that deadline, of course, is 4 p.m. October 25. And collaboration, this is where I was just kind of talking about. You can just arrange for field trips and go out and visit other cities and maybe get some other experience out in these other cities. But if you're going to enlist collaboration with another municipality, that's say you have a joint powers agreement for someone to do your building inspection, your municipality can still apply and compete for a grant, but you just need to include your joint powers agreement. Or if it's if you're going to have a big commitment by another city, you may want to get a letter of commitment that they are agreeing that they're going to help you in training this person. But you can definitely collaborate with others to train your person. That's completely acceptable, and it's encouraged. Funding availability, we've already gone through pretty much all that. Again, 8 grants of up to $65,000, and it's going to be partial funding. and the funding is not intended to completely fund this this training of this person. Eligible and ineligible expenses. This is what your budget will be broken down into 3 categories, pretty quick and easy and simple. And it's going to be the trainee expenses are going to be broken down into the trainee wages, benefits, insurance, taxes. So in other words, their payroll expenses. Education certification expenses, such as sending them their BOL certification or to get signed up for the application. Any of the courses that are needed to meet that competency criteria, that can all come under certification. And support services, which would be the materials, books, laptops, handheld tablets, anything else that you need to train them, your PPE, your personal protection equipment. But that is limited to 10% of the award. So 65,000, you're limited to $6,500 on that. We'll be visiting this again when we take a look at the budget form. And this is exactly what the budget form looks like, and you'll just have a narrative. Just quickly though, we're going through the RFP before we go out and visit those other documents. Ineligible expenses. You cannot directly pay the participant. All the awards have to go through your municipality's financial department and your expensing, and that is how you also submit for reimbursement, is by proving that you have expensed these through your municipality's financial processes. It can't be a direct payment. And so this is how our financial services and DLI will also contact you when you do your first reimbursement request and help you. And we'll do this in the orientation also. We'll show you everything that you need to do in order to and to get those first reimbursement requests out. And we make it easy for you, and we work with you in every step of this. This is something though for you to be aware of. Your finance department and probably your city administrator is going to be asking these questions. So this will kind of give you a little heads up on that. And we can here again answer questions to any of that. A lot of this is answered though in the FAQs. So you cannot use it for fundraising, for taxes, except for those sales taxes on goods or the payroll taxes. You can't pay lobbyists or make political contributions, can't settle up bad debts, parking violations or traffic violations. Out-of-state transportation or travel expenses are not allowed in this. Throwing parties, and no applicant or the guaranteed or grantee, excuse me, are incur ineligible expenses until the grant contract agreement has been fully executed. So here again, full execution of that grant contract agreement is what really kicks your grant into gear. That's when you can start incurring expenses. And so we want to make sure that any expenses in applying to this or sending in your proposal to this grant are not covered. It's not until that grant agreement has been executed. And so just to take a quick look at reviewing and scoring, we're going to look at the grant application here in a moment, but we have a review committee who will be looking through all of your applications and will be giving you scores. We have a 200-point score, total score. And as you can see, it's broken down. I'd like you to read through this a little more in depth. And if you have any questions, you can answer that. But this is what your application is going to look like too. But it just gives you the same exact questions, the exact same things you're going to be answering. And we'll look at that application here in a moment. But it's broken down by categories and then the subcategories. And for organizational need, like a statement detailing the municipality's need for this grant, you're going to get a total of 50 points for this section. The grant reviewers will be looking at these and they will be scoring you on each of these. And so as you see, there's 5 different categories here. You'll get 0 to 10 points on each one of these items, and you'll get up to 50 for this category. And so the next one is organizational qualifications. Here again, we're going to go through this on the application. This is identical to the application, but we listed it here in the RFP so that you and the people who are helping you in your city have an idea of what we're looking at. You're going to be answering all of these questions. Organizational qualifications are going to be 40. The organizational ability to achieve the grant's goals. This is going to be your work plan. You always hear in grants, what is your work plan? Well, this will be listing out your work plan. Here you're going to be giving details of the plan to achieve the required competency criteria. So here again, you're going to have to go back out to that 326B 135 and take a look at that competency criteria, or if you're going for the full BO limited, you're going to be detailing how you're going to achieve that. And that's important because the reviewers are going to give you up to 40 points for this section, depending on how you answer these and how fully you answer these. And this is all important. You're trying to impress upon the grant reviewers your capacity. And that's what a lot of this is you're providing details of each of the city staff members. Up here, you're going to be providing the qualifications of the building official and the other people on your staff who are going to be training this person. So up here, you're giving the qualifications. Down here, you're going to tell how you're going to do that. And some of these will be other city staff members, your planning and zoning people, maybe the fire chief, maybe out to Public Works to take a look at what you require in your city from the street to the curb or into the property. You're going to be having other people in your city are going to help go through all of those training criteria. So you're going to want to list those people here and give some bona fides of each of them. You're really trying to impress upon us and the reviewers how qualified you are and how good your city is going to be at training this person. The next section, DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is very important also. You're going to get up to 30 points on this, and you're going to describe your DEI policies and practices, how you're going to reach out and engage the individual in the community, and using your inclusive practices. So this is important too. You're going to have to, many of your cities already have this outlined and you're already doing this. I'm very impressed in our last grant cycle at how many cities have gotten very proactive on this subject. Measuring successes and outcomes. Here again, you're going to provide the goals or successes that you're going to achieve with this grant, and you're going to list them out. The goals and what you're going to achieve with the trainee, what you're going to accomplish in your building department by having this grant, and what it's going to do for your municipality. And you're going to get a total of 30 points for those three. And budget and narrative, it's required by statute that you have to submit, and by policy, OGM, which is Office of Grants Management, Minnesota OGM policy, is that you have to submit a budget and you have to give a narrative of where those numbers come from. We're going to take a peek at that here in just a moment. And that's on pages 4 and 5 of the application. We're going to be pulling that up and we're going to take a quick look at that. But I want to quick get through the rest of what you may need to know on the RFP. So the grant reporting requirements, here again, we're going to be talking about this if you're awarded a grant, but just so that you know, you're going to be recording each quarter, and we give you a month after the end of the quarter to get your reports in and to get your request for reimbursement in. So you get a little extra time, and then at the end of the whole grant, you actually get out 60 days. We give you more time because we know you're doing your year ends, and we just give you some more time to meet that deadline for that final report and that final grant reimbursement request. And here again, we just break down some of what's going to be coming your way. Again, we go through all of this in the orientation, but you'll be submitting for your reimbursement requests an RPR, which is the reimbursement payment request form, and that's a form we provide for you. We also provide you an expense summary, which breaks down each of these categories in the RPR. And then you have to have those supporting documents. And here's where, again, we're talking about this flowing through your city's finance department. And that's where you're going to be giving us payroll records and timesheets and financial reports and expense receipts so that you can show a support that it actually expensed through your system for your request. You're actually showing that you've expensed what you're requesting reimbursement for. Training reports, here again, I showed you that little form that is going to be part of your contract agreement. And we're just, again, we're looking at quarterly reports. There's a progress narrative report form that I give you. It's just a Word document. And here again, just like your application, we're going to see, you just fill it in. It's just a worksheet format. And you get that Excel worksheet that you can fill in also. And you just provide us with whatever you've done that quarter. And we do it each quarter, though, so that we can track that, and so that also we can see if you need extra help or if you want to request extra help, and make sure that we're just tracking through the grant correctly. There is no time period or requirement for a specific training at a specific time. In other words, those training requirements are for the year. And of course, you may have one project where you do the number 16, the section 16, which is residential. You may be doing a lot of that before you get time to bring them in for the administrative portions. So we're not saying you have to do any of that training in order. We're just saying during the year you have to accomplish that training. And that's what we're tracking through these reports. So as we get toward the end of that year, we can see, well, you've got to start hitting this a little harder. Monitoring, we do one monitoring visit, and we do that through MF's teams. And this would be the building official or the person doing the training and responsible for the training. It would be the trainee, people from your finance department. And we sit down, and the monitoring visit is required by state statute. And you can see that right here. And it's just to make sure that we're tracking right and that we're all on the same page. We're getting your questions answered, and we're providing you everything you need as we go through that we can provide, and that you're in compliance. So it's usually like third quarter, we'll do our monitoring visits. Method of payments, they're usually ACHs, and it's all per our policy, our Minnesota State Office of Grants Management Policy 80808. Audits, there is under Minnesota statute, there will be an audit. The financial services people determine that. Here's a list of everything that they're going to need and that you need to keep on record. Here again, your records have to be, we keep ours for 6 years, and this is all according to record retention policies and your record retentions, but I believe it's 6 years, yes, 6 years minimum that you have to retain these grant documents that are listed here. And grantee requirements when you're bidding. In our case, this is something that's included as OGM policy. You're probably not going to be getting bids unless, of course, you're buying your laptops or something on a bid. In that case, you have to follow the DLI and OGM policies and our statute laws on bidding for grant-related work. And you have to also check that suspended and debarred vendor information to make sure that you're not getting these from someone who's been suspended or debarred from activity in the state of Minnesota. So that's important if you're going to do any bidding to purchase items for the grant with the grant money. Okay, conflicts of interest, that's explained out in these statutes, and you can click on these and go out to these policies. Public applicants, public data. The application process and your proposal and application are kept not public until you're awarded the grant. When you're awarded the grant, this all becomes public information. Now that's the things that are still restricted, of course, are like social security numbers and license numbers and all of the normal data that would be not public. But read through this section so that you know, but this is pretty much standard with all grants and with a lot of our activities. Affirmative action, discrimination requirements. Here again, read through these. Many of you are already proactive on all of this, but be knowledgeable of this, and you're going to be listing and giving us a lot of this information in your proposal. Voter registration requirements, of course, our statute listing that. Section 17, now this is a nice little checklist just to make sure that you're getting everything into your proposal. This is also at the end of your application, so you can just double check, but it's just making sure you're getting submitted, of course, by our deadline. And you have to have proof of workers' compensation for this this grant, because they're your employee. You're going to make sure that they're covered by workman's comp. This also, we had one large city that is a self-insurer. And so that's why they've then provided us their information on their self-insurance. But the majority of you are all going to have your standard workman's comp, and I believe some of this is you can provide through the Minnesota League of Cities also. Effective and equal opportunity policies, and you're going to be giving us a lot of that in that section 4, I believe it is, of your grant agreement, your DEI section. A joint powers agreement or letter of commitment if you're bringing somebody else in. Your signed requirements document. This training requirements document, Exhibit B, this is signed when with your contract agreement. This is included there. So that's what we mean by signed here. This is, you don't have to sign that when you submit this. You'll be signing your contract agreement, and this will be an exhibit on there. So it doesn't mean you have to sign it at this time. But you do have to sign and have notarized that affidavit of non-collusion. That has to come in with your package. And also be sure just to visit the website and look at any of the other documents that you may need and get those. You can contact me though. I can send you over those documents also. And then review that sample grant contract when we get that up there. Submitting the applications, again, you're just going to email them over to the bot.dli@state.mn.gov email address. Use this for all of our correspondence during the application period. And again, we got till 4 p.m. on October 25. And just a reminder that you're incurring all costs applied with this RFP. You cannot put any of these costs in applying for this RFP into or have them expensed in your grant, because you can't expense the grant until after the agreement is signed, and that's after your award. And it gives you a little review process and our timeline on that. And here again, just as we've talked, our December of this year, we're hoping to announce, and work begins. We're hoping January 1st, but it's pretty much, it's when that contract agreement is fully executed, then you can get started and you can start expensing. Here again, give you questions that you can get out to us, where to contact, our contact number, our email, website, and then these are the things, of course, as we looked at out there on that website as to what is available out there. Okay. So there we are. That's our RFP. We made it all the way through it. It's pretty simple. We've tried to keep it not understandable. And over the years, we've answered just about everybody's questions. And so hopefully that's understandable. Otherwise, you can get a hold of me. So let's take a look at that grant application real quick. Not a lot to explain here. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is a Word document. That's how you should be getting it. If not, and you want to do it in some other way, this is what we need. We just need this coming in. This is your grant proposal. It's the application, but this is a proposal that you're submitting to us. And this is the information that we need. But this is a Word document, and you just click and just start typing and entering your text. If you want to just break this all out in another sheet and you give us all of these same topics and headings, great. This is what your proposal should look like though. And so again, you just go through our first person. You're going to, of course, have the legal name of the municipality, how much you're requesting. And remember, you can only go up to a maximum of $65,000. Our municipal official, with the authority to sign is our first person you're going to fill in here. Now, this may be the building official. This may be the head of finance. This may be the city administrator. This is going to be the person who is going to be signing your contract agreement. We're going to put this person's name and address right into the contract agreement. So that's why it's important that we have this person, because this is the person that will be signing the contract agreement if you are awarded a grant. And of course, then this is going to be their signature and date on this line here once you get this filled in. The other important person we're going to need is the primary contact person. Now, many times this is the building official or the person who's going to be doing the training. And this is the person that I'm going to be contacting for everything. When we send out our notices, when we've got a end quarter report coming up, if we have any problems, this is going to be our go-to person. So the primary contact is the one we're going to be talking to most. The financial department person is the other person we're going to be talking to. Now, this may be the department head, the manager of the department. This may be a director of finance, but this may also just be the another person in the department. This is the one that we're going to be talking to every quarter to get those documents submitted. And in our first reporting, and we'll be talking about this in your orientation, the DLI financial services people want to contact you directly and work with you to make sure you're getting all the correct documents in. And many times they have questions to ask you, or other documents that they want, other types of reports. They want to see the reports a certain way, something like this. So this is going to be the person that they're going to be contacting and working with in that department. So you're going to choose who this is going to be. You're probably going to go out and talk to see if the director of your finance department wants to do it, or if they're going to appoint an assistant to do this. So that's going to list that person here. And here again, those names are going to be listed elsewhere on other documents. So those are important to get up right away. This is if you're going to be, of course, go to the RFP for any of these questions to get answered. If you're collaborating with other municipalities, this is where you would attach or give us the information, your joint powers agreement. You could attach it to the back of this. However you want to do it, just send it in with your package, or a letter. If you're having someone who's going to do help you a lot, you're going to have a letter defining that cooperation. And here again, collaboration is perfectly acceptable and encouraged. We want to make sure your person is completely trained. And so then we just start. Here's your proposal. So you're just going to start through the application, and these are the same headings we've seen out in the RFP, and it shows you the points there. And here again, you're just going to start answering each one of these. This is in a worksheet format, and you'll just click and start typing. This should expand out as you go. And if you give us one whole page answering this, then it'll just keep pushing everything down a page. So you just keep clicking on each one of these headings and just adding your text. This should work good. Here again, if you want to do this in another format, you just make sure you're answering this heading with each one of these items below. This is what we need for your proposal. We need all of these answered. As fully and as complete as you can answer them, the better, because that's what the reviewers are going to be looking at. Here, number 2 is organizational qualifications. You're just going to go through every one of these topics, give us your best and most complete answers. Organizational ability. Here again, as we talked, here you're going to give the qualifications of the people training. Here you're going to be telling about your organization's ability to achieve those. You're going to be giving us your details on your work plan, on how you're going to achieve that competency criteria or the BO limited application. See, so this is where you're going to give us that definition of how you're going to do this. Here's your DEI section. Again, just like we've seen over in the RFP. Measuring success and outcomes. Here again, you're just going to tell us when we're all done what this is going to do for the trainee, for the building department, municipality. And so now here's our section 6 is our budget and budget narrative, 10 points. And so here again, you're going to be filling these out and submitting these. These are required by policy that you submit a budget. And so you're just going to give us your dollar amount requested. It's pretty much always going to be a maximum of 65. We have had some requests less. So you're just going to, this is where you're going to put the total you're requesting. Here's where you're going to break it down into line items. Trainee wages. Here again, click, fill it in. Click, fill it in. Your trainee insurance and benefits. So you're going to have to go out and calculate for the year what you're going to spend. This will actually be on your RPR, your reimbursement payment request when you make it. And we're going to be drawing down against these numbers. So you're going to want fairly accurate numbers. Now we can work with these numbers for that total of 65,000 when you're reporting, but we'll talk about all that in the orientation. But for the grant proposal, you need to give us actual accurate numbers in here that you're going to be spending for the year. Education and certification and support services limited to 10%, so it'd be 6,500 if you're asking for 65,000. And then down here, you're going to have your total budget request, which is going to come to that 65,000, no more. Okay, because that's your maximum grant amount, but you can request less if you want. So this is just like we've seen on the RFP. This is just that's your total budget. Budget narrative is where you break it down. So when you have up here trainee wages, you're giving us a lump sum. Well, in the budget narrative, you're going to break that out. You're going to give us your mathematics here. You're going to give us your calculations, how you came up with that number. You're justifying that. This is important too. The reviewers are going to be looking at this to decide how effective you are. How are you going to spend your money? You know, how much more are you going to contribute to this? But in this, you're going to be defining what how you're getting those numbers that you're putting into that budget. But remember, that budget cannot request more than $65,000. And that number right there goes up here at the top. Okay, that maximum 65. But you're going to break it down for us in the narrative. And here again, we just give you that quick checklist of materials that you're going to need to submit. And here again, here we break it out, eliminated the word sign, and it's just review the training requirements so that you're familiar with them. Those will be in your grant agreement when it comes through. The same document laid out the same way. So there won't be any surprises there. And how to submit it. So there you are. There is a look at everything you need to apply for your grant. This is going to be your proposal when it's all filled out. This is what you're going to submit and get over to us by that grant deadline date. And so this should help you. This should give you everything you need to do your application. If not, give a call, send an email. We'll help you with this. Again, we have to answer any questions on the BOT website in that FAQ section so that everybody gets those answers evenly. But hopefully this did give all of you those answers that you were looking for. So at this time, Don or Chad, do you guys have any questions?
Chad, I'll let you go ahead.
Everything
No.
everything looks pretty clear.
Couple comments then. Just a reminder to everybody that you roughly have 13 business days to get this taken care of. So it's something that you're going to want to jump on because it's October 25th of 2023, not 2024, that we're needing this done by. Questions that you do put in, please make sure that you get them to that website. The intent is that we answer those questions on Friday so that everybody gets the exact same answer at the exact same time, so where there's no favoritism showed there or anything like that. If you call in and ask Terrence a question, he's going to ask you to put it into a email or something that we can then place on our website, and he will answer it on the Friday before. Terrence, as the grants administrator, he'll track all of that and take care of everything. When we do our monitoring of the grant, there will be 2 individuals from our office that will be on that call. We always do that with 2. It's not that we're trying to overload anybody, but just for reasons of clarity and things, we're going to have 2 people. So don't be surprised if there's 2 of us chatting with you. That's all I have. And thanks to Terrence, thanks to Chad for facilitating this. We appreciate the help. Turn it back to you, Terrence.
Okay, thank you very much. Chad, do you want to go ahead and end the recording and the seminar here? And information to everyone, this will be posted out on the grant website for access and review later. Thank you very much. Good luck.